Hi guys, I'm Thiago. Welcome back to my channel. Here we talk about fragrances, and today we'll have another first impressions of a brand that I have very little experience with. They sent me a discovery set and it's Le Jardin Retrouvé. I had tried a couple of their scents at Essence, a very saturated, fragrance saturated environment, so it's never a good environment to test a lot of fragrances in, especially these ones. Le Jardin Retrouvé, from what I understood from the couple of fragrances that I've tried, they are very light and sort of vintage inspired fragrances, but very light in character. So I'm curious to try them with a more free, fragrance-free space here. There are a lot of fragrances here, so I will not be spraying them all on skin. I'll be spraying them all on paper, unless I really want to spray one or two of them or on skin. But these will be just purely first impressions. So there are two samples that were not labeled. So I investigated a bit and I was able to label them. But other than that, there are a lot of fragrances, and all of them have a sort of labeled card with a design and a brief copy about the fragrance. And well, I'm curious because they are sort of vintage inspired. The brand has history. I don't know exactly when they were created, but I know it's an older brand. It's not a brand that gets a lot of press, actually. No, not a lot of people talk about them. But apparently, and I'm going to read a couple of lines here on this card. Le Jardin Retrouvé is an independent, artisanal, family-run perfume house. Okay, so they are not owned by a conglomerate. That's good. Founded in 1975. So yeah, they've been around. By legendary perfumer Yuri Gustats. I've never heard of this perfumer, so if you have experience with Yuri Gustats fragrances, I don't know if he's just the perfumer for Le Jardin Retrouvé, maybe. I don't know if he's still alive or not. I didn't do a proper research for this, so this will be like first impressions. There are again a lot of fragrances. Let me count. So 2 that were not labeled, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 13 fragrances in total. It's gonna be a busy one, and we have to move fast for this. So they all come in this sort of design sample. The sample comes inside here, and there's a little card with a design representative of the fragrance. Very nice presentation for samples. All we care about here is the fragrance. So there's the correspondent blotter. So this is nice because I'm not going to spray them on skin. I'm not going in any particular order. I'll just start with Tubéreuse Trianon. Tubéreuse Trianon, and again, beautiful graphic, but let's check out the fragrance. I'm not a huge tuberose fan. I do like a few. I love Nuit Bakélite, but that's another genre of tuberose. It's very green, and it's just a weird fragrance in the opening. It reminds me of peeling green peas with my grandma. So yeah. It's a different kind of tuberose, but well, let's see. This is Tubéreuse Trianon. Let's check it out. Let's do a couple of sprays in the personalized blotter. Okay, nice. So the inspiration is the Jardin du Trianon in Versailles. So the Garden of Trianon. I've never been there, so yeah. I have to move faster than this because there are a lot of fragrances. As it starts, it's very floral, of course, tuberose, it's a flower. it has a bit of sharp green hairspray-like nuance in the opening. This might just be in again in the first instance of the fragrance. Has a creaminess to it. It's a nice tuberose. Has the vegetal aspect, not as green as I was saying, Nuit Bakelit by Naomi Gutzer, but it's very, there's a yellow floral aspect to it. Tuberose usually can give a bubblegummy effect. Here, there's a little of that, but it isn't like Carnal Flower by Frédéric Malle, or the one from Healy that I forgot the name, but yeah, nice tuberose. I'm not a huge fan of this one, to be honest. I mean, it's not my style, let's say. But yeah, we'll put it to the side and continue with the rest. Now this one is their rose. It's Rose Trocadéro. And again, nice design. So let's check out what's their interpretation of a rose, or well, their take on a rose fragrance. Let's do a couple of sprays for this one as well. Really nice rose. Really natural smelling, actually. It has the fruity nuances of the rose. It has a rose water aspect to it right away in the opening. With the fruity nuances of the rose, it's not a green spiky rose. It's very soft, like soft petal rose. Yeah, it smells like you're putting your nose against the rose. It's very natural smelling. And this one is inspired by the Jardin Retrouvé Fragrances in Paris, which has a lovely view for the Eiffel Tower. It's like one of the best views for the Eiffel Tower. And yeah, very nice rose. Not much complexity going on here. It's a pretty simple, delicate fragrance. Like a rose water, delicate, silky petals rose. In the opening. This is just first impressions on a blotter, so take it with every grain of salt possible. But again, not my style. It's a very simple rose, nice rose, but well, let's keep on going. This is their Osmanthes. It is Osmanthe Liu Yuan. Again, really nice graphic. So let's check out that Osmanthes. And Osmanthes is a note that I love, so I hope this one is great. Let's see. And the samples are really, there are big samples. I don't know what's the size of this. 3 ml. So 3 ml samples. This is the size every sample branded sample should be, because this lets you experiment the fragrance properly. So let's check out their Osmanthes. Couple of sprays again. Ooh, yeah, I love Osmanthes. So right in the opening, you get, at least I'm getting, the peachy stone fruit like nuances that Osmanthes can have. So I'm getting a lot of the fruitier aspects of the Osmanthes. Really peachy nectarine. It is all that in the opening. Very delicate, very natural smelling again. I don't know if there are some sort of aldehydes contributing to the peachiness of this, but yeah, it's inspired by the garden of Li Yuan in China. So I've never been again, but yeah, and it's taking on now a little bit of a more suede vegetal tea-like approach. Character to the scent, which again, Osmanthes can have all of that by itself, that's why I love Osmanthes. It can have so many nuances. Yeah, really nice. I will come back to this one eventually to test it out more, but from first impressions, I really like it from the opening. Again, I love Osmanthes, and this is just a first impression from a blotter and first minutes. So again, take it with many grains of salt. Now, the next one is their Jasmin Majorelle. Jasmin Majorelle. sometimes struggle with jasmine. I have been loving jasmine more and more. One recent jasmine that I loved, or one use of jasmine that I loved, was Anubis from Papillon. But that's a darker jasmine, a dusty, suede incense fragrance, very resinous and dusty. Let's see how this one is. And the graphic is very nice again. So let's test out their jasmine. A couple of sprays. This one is inspired by Jardin Majorelle, which is in Morocco, Marrakesh. I've never been there, so I don't know about the inspiration, but let's check out the fragrance, how it is. I'm just letting it dry a few seconds because I want to experience it not alcoholically, if that makes sense. Okay, this is weird. I don't know. It's interesting for sure, but it has like a balloon-like effect. You know when you blow a balloon and it has that powdery, rubbery feel, smell, taste to it when you blow a balloon? It has a bit of that in the opening. It's almost invading my nostrils and my mouth. It's weird, this one, in the opening. I've never smelled this nuance in jasmine. I don't know if that's an effect that jasmine can have, because I've never smelled something like this. I've smelled rubber balloon-like effects from oud. There's an Arige Doré that has that effect. I don't remember which one it is. I think it was actually Chinese oud. I don't know. It's getting a bit more palatable and more fruity, but still powdery. And yeah, that balloon-like smell is very present. I don't know about this one. It's strange. I will have to revisit it. Again, this can be completely different on skin. And these are just first impressions. Well, let's carry on because we have a lot of fragrances to cover still. The next one is their Verbena scent, so Verveine d'été. And I like verbena in some sense. For example, Sergio Torino 21 has a nice verbena note. Of course, there are many other better verbena fragrances, but that's one I have in my collection and I enjoy wearing in the summer. Yeah, let's check it out. I mean, the summer is now ending, so this one is a bit out of season right now, but the Osmanthe one would be great for fall, for example, at least from first impressions. Okay, a couple of sprays. And this sample is smaller. This is a 2 ml. Well, it will be enough for me for sure. So let's check out their Verveine d'été. Okay, very lemony, herbal, like a verbena scent should be. Smells very natural, again. Very uplifting, very uplifting. There's sort of a mossy nuance underneath, but it's very eye-opening and sharp, lemony herbal, like a verbena should be. Very nice, very nice. This is not a dried up verbena as you would have for a tea. This is fresh verbena. Really, really nice. It's almost fizzy. Again, I don't know if I would get a bottle for myself, but it's good. I mean, I imagine this in high heat would be fantastic. Again, very simple, refined, subtle fragrance from what I can smell from a card for a few seconds. So again, take it with every grain of salt you can find. And this is inspired by Jardin d'été, St. Petersburg, Russia. So I don't know. I've never been to St. Petersburg. I don't know if there's a lot of verbena there, but maybe there are. There is a lot of verbena there. I don't know. But in my hometown, I grew up in the southern part of Portugal, more in the inner southern part of Portugal, and we did have a lot of verbena, and my grandma had a lot of verbena in the garden, and yeah, this is very nostalgic to me and very refreshing, so for sure. Let's go on to the next one, because this is going to be a long ass video. This new one will be Eau des Délices, and it is inspired by Le Jardin des Délices in Madrid. I've never been to Madrid. So far I've only been in the Trocadéro garden. So again, this sample is smaller. It is also a 2 ml. So let's see how it smells. The Eau des Délices. And this one is the first one that's not named after a particular ingredient, which I'm curious about. Okay, this smells familiar. It doesn't remind me of a fragrance in particular, but the scent profile in the opening smells a bit familiar. Maybe like a Eau Sauvage by Dior. So far it smells familiar, like something my grandpa used to wear, I don't know. But again, it's very citrusy, herbal in the opening, so it's a very pleasant, uplifting, happy smell. It smells natural, it smells of orange blossoms or neroli. It smells very citrusy, so citrusy, bitter green. Almost in the vein of the last one, the verbena, but that one was straightforward verbena. This has a little bit more going on. But yeah, maybe not as heavy as the Eau Sauvage, but yeah, it's a familiar DNA. It's a cologne-like DNA. Yeah, very nice. If you're looking for a cologne-like scent DNA, Eau des Délices is pretty nice, but again, it's nothing new to me. It smells familiar, but it smells very natural, very light, very delicate, and would be uplifting in the heat. But yeah, very well done. It smells for this scent DNA, but this would be something that I would test after a shower maybe. But yeah, for now, let's keep on moving. And this next one isn't based on a particular note. It's called Oriental Sans Souci. Maybe you cannot see the name, but it's called Oriental Sans Souci. I'm not a fan of the nomenclature. Oriental, well, that's a bit problematic, but well. Let's check out the fragrance, and this is a bigger one again, the 3 ml, so a couple of sprays, and the graphic on this one is beautiful. Okay, this one also smells familiar. Again, doesn't remind me of a particular fragrance, but oh no, wait. Hold on, it's changing rapidly. In the opening, I was thinking it might be into a Shalimar space, but no. No, it's changing rapidly. Wow, it's very powdery. It's powdery and almost almondy in a way. And this is inspired by Jardin du Palais Sans Souci in Germany. So another inspiration that I don't know. So. And I've traveled a lot, but not to these particular locations. It's interesting that the inspiration is in Germany, but like the description of the in the card refers to China, but I don't know. I'm not fluent in French either, so. But again, very well put together, refined, delicate, very powdery, slightly sweet, but not too sweet. Has a bit of a backbone, might be some patchouli maybe, or some sort of woody background. It smells a bit dusty, but it's very, very powdery. It's almost vanillic, but doesn't go into a gooey vanilla scent profile per se. It's interesting. I've never, even though it smelled familiar in the opening, it changed rapidly, and I've never smelled anything quite like it, I think. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's keep on moving. I think this one was the one I heard the most about, and I've tried this one at Essence, but again, these were so light, and Essence is so saturated that I could barely smell them, and they are so delicate. Again, I couldn't smell it. So it is Sandalwood Sacré. You might not be able to see it, but this is the graphic. So I love sandalwood, and I'm still searching for a perfect sandalwood, even though I love Bois des Îles and Égoïste and many other sandalwoods, Tam Dao by Diptyque. I love a lot of great sandalwoods, but I haven't found my perfect sandalwood. I would love to try many more, and I have tried many more, but let's check this one out. A couple of sprays again. I have high expectations for this one because a lot of people talk highly about it. And ooh, smells promising in the air right now. It's inspired by Bois Sacré in India. Okay, so Indian sandalwood. It's the inspiration. Powdery, dusty, slightly aldehydic in the opening. Slightly floral. This goes in the direction of Bois des Îles by Chanel. Doesn't smell the same. Bois des Îles is more floral, more aldehydic, I'd say. This one does have a bit of those nuances in the opening, aldehydes and a bit of florals, but it's dusty and it's already settling into a more wood shavings, wood temple kind of profile. Very light and delicate, like all of them. But yeah, so far this might be my favorite. The Osmanthe one is neck and neck. They are tied. So, and so far the perfumer has been Yuri Gustats for all of them. So, founder and perfumer for all of them so far. There are a couple of them that are not made by Yuri Gustats, so I will always have the perfumer and all of that on the screen. But yeah, slightly musky, floral, dusty sandalwood. Very nice. Very nice sandalwood. An old school like DNA take on sandalwood, which is very much appreciated. If you like Samsara, Bois des Îles, you will most likely like this one. I'm not saying they smell the same, they don't, but if you like those kinds of scents, this might be worth a try. So this one is the first that was not made by Yuri Gustats. This was made by Maxence Moute. And it's their oak moss. It's Mousse Arashiyama. Mousse Arashiyama. And this is the design. Very cute. A child with some sort of astrological graphic and a lot of oak moss and flowers. So I'm curious, since oak moss has been banned, I'm curious to know what they have done with oak moss. Let's check it out. And let me say it, this room right now is smelling pretty amazing with all the mix of this, these old school type of DNAs, and this is unexpected. It's floral and powdery up top. It's smelling like really, first of all, really pleasant, not heavy at all, not sharp and metallic as sometimes oak moss can be. It's it's not what I was expecting at all. It's floral and powdery up top. And the inspiration for this one is Jardin Retrouvé in Kyoto, Japan. So I guess I've never been to Japan, but from the descriptions that people usually give, I guess I can see the inspiration in Japan with this one. Like there's almost a, I don't know if I don't know if it's listed or not. I don't think so. I don't think the notes are listed here, but there's almost this cherry blossom, almondy, florally aspect to it. It's not shampoo-y per se, as sometimes cherry blossom can be, but it's almondy, floral, powdery. This is lovely. I'm curious to know how it develops into a more mossy background, because Mousse Arashiyama. This is curious, this is interesting, and it's lovely. It smells lovely in the air. Again, first impressions on a blotter, first minutes. Don't take these seriously at all. Now, this one I've heard a lot about as well is their citrus forward fragrance, and it is Citron Boboli, and it's again by Yuri Gustats, and it's inspired by Jardin Boboli in Florence, Italy. So I'm expecting it to be a citrus-centric fragrance, so again, a cologne-like DNA, but let's see. And it's again a smaller sample. So, and the graphic is really nice again. Let's see. Some samples come prior and other ones don't, but I don't know. Oh yeah, really lemony up top. Really lemony. It's like a cold glass of lemonade. Smells really natural. Again, in the opening, first impression, smells really natural. Great lemon, but it's creamier. It's creamier than I was expecting it to be. Citron Boboli. I mean, the citron is a curious fruit. It can mean lemon in French, but if it is the citron fruit, it's like almost all rind. It's like a very thick rind and almost no fruit. And it can have this gentler, more zesty profile to it instead of a fruit juicy profile, but it's a bit of both here, I would say. It's slightly sugary, juicy. It's like a lemonade, really. There's a creaminess underneath and like a soft spiciness to it. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. I would say this is right behind Sandalwood Sacré and Osmanthe Liu Yuan for me. Those two are my favorites so far, but Citron Boboli, it's really nice. Really, really nice. And the mousse one I really liked as well. It's interesting. Definitely interesting. So this will be our last carded sample, branded carded sample. The other two are without a box. And this I think is the latest release, and it is Violette Kew. So it's their violet fragrance. I mean, I love this design, like an explosion of violets with the butterfly on the lady. So this was the other one I've tried at Essence. I've said I've tried two. This was the other one. So let's try it again. I don't remember this. I couldn't smell this at all at Essence. It was so gentle, so powdery. Oh yeah, and it is violet, all right? It is violet. Just right in the air, it smells violet-like. It smells almost oily in a way. Think Fahrenheit, not the case here. It doesn't smell like Fahrenheit in the opening, but think that half papery, half gasoline vibe that violet can have. It has both in the opening. Yeah, but it is photorealistically violet. Wow, it's really good violet. and it says certified well-being booster. I don't know if that was studied to be certified, but I'll take their word for it. But yeah, and it's inspired by Kew Gardens in London. I've been to London. I've never been to Kew Gardens. I don't know where that is, but yeah. It's weird, it's papery, it's very distinctly violet. The gasoline-like aspect is gone. It was just the first couple of seconds that it hit me, but it's more papery, dusty, powdery. Slightly, there's a slightly moldy aspect underneath, I don't know why. And also a violet candy undertone, but it's not a sweet fragrance. It's, for now, it's really powdery and floral, and really like you're smelling violets. Interesting, and I'm getting more of a mossy nuance in this one than the mousse, than their moss. So, but it's really a nuance in the background. Interesting. I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't know if I would wear it very often. Again, very delicate, very well put together and refined. Very realistic violet up top. This one I'm very curious about because it's called Cuir de Russie, and I've written this myself because it wasn't labeled. As you can see, this doesn't have any writing on it. But I do have the blotter, and it says Cuir de Russie. You might be able to see it, but it's in reverse, so... This is their take on a Russian leather, a Cuir de Russie. Usually these are leathers with a lot of florals, sheep-like structure, with a smoky nuance from birch tar, for example. And these are inspired by, again, leather gloves that were scented, or leather goods that were scented. And that was the way that Russia did their leathers. So it was called the Cuir de Russie scent profile, let's say. And there's a lot of brands that have a Cuir de Russie. Alice Doré has one, but more famously, Chanel has one. So yeah. And there are more scent profiles like that. For example, Peau d'Espagne, which is Spanish leather, for the same reason. They used to scent leather goods, more specifically gloves, with perfume, and that scent as a whole was called Spanish leather. So same goes here with Russian leather, and let's see how it is. It almost didn't spray, but let's spray it a little more. And I really like Cuir de Russie from Chanel, so I'm curious about this one. Interesting. Well, it is very floral. I'm not getting any animalic or smoky nuances from this at all. It is very floral. But there is a savory aspect underneath, like there is a untreated leather way in the background, but it doesn't smell bloody or sharp or yeah, it doesn't smell like raw leather when you go to a raw leather warehouse or leather store. It doesn't smell like that to me, at least in the opening, of course. It's very much maybe violet, maybe rose, but there's something salty, savory underneath. Curious. This is gonna sound very strange, but it almost smells like a soup in the opening. A very light soup, not like a thick soup. Yeah, because it's floral, aromatic. This is really messing up with my head right now. Because I haven't smelled a Cuir de Russie like this. Very curious, very interesting. It wouldn't be my choice for a Cuir de Russie like fragrance. I would still stick with the one from Chanel for now, for the first impressions of this, but very classic structure, but I've never smelled anything quite like this. There's this salty nuance that's very curious. Yeah, Cuir de Russie. Now the last one, and we are already, this is already very long. I will have to cut this down a bit, but the last one is Bois Tabac, and this one was labeled, so it has a bit of writing. You might not be able to tell, but it wasn't in a carded sample. So it's Bois Tabac, and well, as you might know, I love tobacco, so I'm curious to try this one as well, and the graphic is also really nice. Strange. I mean, these are certainly unique for the most part. Very vintage inspired, but this one in the opening, I will have to let it settle a bit more, because for now it's smelling very varnish-like for some reason. It's smelling, and it's not alcohol from the fragrance, because of course there's a lot of alcohol in the opening evaporating, but it's not that. It has a varnish-like smell to it in the opening. Okay, but it's quickly changing, settling. It's more tobacco leafy right now. Interesting. I mean, it smells, again, very naturalistic, very delicate. It's not a sweet tobacco as the modern brands do nowadays. It's not an initial side effect or anything like that. Very herbal, very dry, dusty, and it's smelling really of tobacco leaves, and it's very woody as well. So I think the name is very fitting. Bois Tabac Virginia. Bois Tabac Virginia. It doesn't say the inspiration on the card, but yeah, it's interesting. It wouldn't be my first choice for tobacco. But it's interesting. It's getting more vetiver-like. There's a lot of vetiver in the base, I would assume, or cedar wood and vetiver, maybe along those lines. I'm getting a lot of vetiver actually right now. There might be zero vetiver in this, but that's what I'm getting. Very dry, dusty, leafy. Interesting. Not your usual tobacco nowadays. So Bois Tabac Virginia was the last one, and this is already very long. I will have to cut it down a lot, but I hope you enjoyed my first impressions, really first impressions. I will not even revisit them right now at the end, because it would take double the amount of time. These are just first sniffs, so they don't mean anything. This is just my first impression, but I hope you enjoy them. Very vintage inspired, very refined for the most part, very simple for the most part. They changed a bit in the first seconds, minutes, so interesting stuff. Different than most of the fragrances out there right now. That's a good thing. Thanks for Le Jardin Retrouvé for sending me the discovery set. That's very kind of them. They didn't ask me for any videos or anything. They were curious about what I thought, so I will let them know, but there was no payment, never will be. I never accept anything like that, but I'm always grateful to try new stuff. So I hope you enjoyed my first impressions. There were not a lot of them that were for me per se. I did really like the Osmanthes and the Sandalwood. These two were my favorites, the Osmanthes and the Sandalwood. And then the other two runner-ups that I really enjoyed, but they are behind the other two, are the Citron Boboli, their Mousse Arashiyama. So These two are the runner-ups. Really nice as well. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.